Hey y'all, it is Cody from the Keepers of Nerdom. How are you all doing this evening? I thought it would be a good time to talk about something wrong. And ironically, perfect timing for the stuff going on behind me. Something went wrong. And I think the perfect topic for tonight is Halo Infinite. Just recently, it has kind of exploded once again in the news. Not because people are playing it like crazy, not because people are super excited to be on it again. But unfortunately, because the roadmap that was just released, it's 6-month span, but the amount of stuff that we get from other games, this stuff would happen in 2 or 3 months tops. Tops. And the things that they're talking about, it's like stuff that you go, there is no way that this should be still happening. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's just go back through a little bit of history for a moment. And what I really want to talk about is just the idea of this whole concept of what should you do when a game just goes bad, right? When it just fails. What do you do? And the answer is, oftentimes you just move on. Find a new game. Find a new thing to do, because the simple fact is it failed and there's a reason for it and you got to move on. And so Halo Infinite, when it first came out, it came out in an early release. We got a month early than what it was supposed to for at least the multiplayer before the campaign. And on the surface, it was exciting because what we were seeing was, here is a game that is got some things it's going to have to fix. But as long as they do well on updating things, we're going to have a great game. But they had pushed it back a year. They had actually delayed it a year from when it was supposed to come out. Because this is 2022, so it came out in 2021, but it was supposed to come out in 2020. So it had been delayed a year, and it was still missing some pretty basic things. Like there were playlists missing that were just basic standard lists. They had events, right? They had a battle pass, but we found out the battle pass lasts for 6 months instead of 3 or so. You know, and ironically, Fortnite, that was up here behind me for a bit, was showing us a good example of what you should do. And unfortunately for all of us, 343 just, they fell down. Like, we had a lot of fun playing the game, me and my friends, as we've gone. And I haven't touched Halo Infinite since I finished Battle Pass Season 2. And I didn't even purchase this one. I just worked through the free parts and got what I wanted from there, and then the little events, right? And I didn't want to pay for it because there was one thing, maybe 2, that I wanted out of the whole battle pass as far as the paid side. Not worth it. It's just not worth it. And so we've got 6-month-long battle passes. We've got playlists being added that should have been at the game at the beginning. The campaign was a month later, but we were, you know, it was in beta. So, okay, we nodded our heads along with that. But one of the things that was announced on their roadmap and actually unannounced was co-op is still coming for your campaign for, you ready for this? Just for online. So you can play with people online for co-op, but now they've canceled co-op couch. And that was one of the big criticisms for Halo 5. And that's a big deal because Halo has been a big party game. I cannot tell you the amount of fun that I had as a kid playing Halo 2 and really Halo 3 is where I really got into it. With friends, where we would go over and have a big crazy party for Halo 2 and then 3 and just have a blast. We were not really playing seriously. We were just having a great time, shooting each other and having a fun thing, and everybody's derping around having a good time. And unfortunately, the very second that you take out multiplayer on the couch, you have made Halo not the same thing as it used to be. You've killed something. And it's a very important something that, even though there's a lot of people that play Halo competitively, it is a game that is first and foremost fun and collective. And that's why it became so popular, because you could play with your friends and have an epic time at home in big groups, and you could do LAN parties. I will never forget that night where we had Halo 3 booted up with 2 Xbox 360s, LAN linked together in the same house, one in a bedroom next to us and the other back in the living room in the basement. And we were, you know, here's a 20-foot plus cord connecting us, and we were having 4v4, 3v3s that night. all night long. We were battling it up. It was insane. It was awesome. And ironically, the Halo games didn't come out with content in the same way that they did back then. But in a lot of ways, it didn't matter because Forge was already present. If memory serves, like Halo 3 right at the beginning. We still don't have Forge. So the very thing that could really help 343 with this of community-created stuff that they could then launch into it really fast. Like, here's a map. Go. That's a remake of the other maps from the old games. Go. They can't do. Really, it's so frustrating watching a video game series and concept go completely downhill that frustrates you. And from my friends, like, I've been playing some Fortnite just because World of Tanks. Another game that we got interested in and started playing like crazy was Naraka Blade Point. It's just a game that's just a ton of fun because it's a battle royale set in like medieval Japan but with some superpower stuff. And it's awesome. It's great. And it's coming out with content and skins and outfits and customization. Quite a bit from what I can tell. I haven't been on it very much yet, but I'm going, okay, this is keeping my interest even if I don't like the genre because it actually has a lot going on. Here's the deal. If you're going to create a game, if you're going to create something interesting, you've got to change it up. You've got to add to it. You've got to build upon it. One of the most disappointing things was when Battlefront 2, the new one, okay? The new one from EA, they just decided right as it was really getting good, where they fixed everything and it was ready to go, and they could have made tons and tons of money if they just started making skins and concepts and more characters and just adding those as DLC that, you know, pay $5 here, pay $5 there, and oh, here's our store where we're going to sell you a few skins and it's going to be great. They had the opportunity, and instead, what do? They do this. They go, this is our last update, and we're done. We're done. What do you do with that? Ironically, another great game that's a perfect example of this is Splitgate. Think Halo and Portal mixed together, and apparently in their news thing, they're just now getting ready in the next month or so to come out of beta. And that's cool. Okay, that's fine. But then they had a message in there saying that we will still support the game, almost as so to say, we're done. We've done everything we want to do with this. And you're like, you're just now coming out of beta. This isn't the stop. This is the start. You've just been leading up to this, not stopping there. And so they're going downhill and breaking their own game. And so we see Halo, and it's a mess, and it's heartbreaking because it's gotten handed over to 343. And Halo 4 wasn't bad. Halo 5 I didn't even touch really much at all because everything I was hearing about it, the story, the gameplay, it just wasn't there. Even though the gameplay apparently was pretty decent, it wasn't there because they weren't addressing the things that they needed to return to form. And Halo Infinite did do that. They returned to form, and it was great, and it was good, and it was fun. And unfortunately, what they didn't do was give us the things that we were looking for. The very basic things that we were looking for. And what we were looking for was this. Co-op. On the couch to play together. I want to have guys over and sit down with 4 controllers and go to town. Why can't you put that in a game? Why? That's stupid. Fortnite can have a second player play now. And it's been that way for over a year. And Halo Infinite can't? Okay, this is a serious note. This is a trend that has gone on far too long that, you know, we've seen loot boxes and other like crazy game mechanics and battle passes and all these things that have changed and come on gone, and some are better and some are worse. Like battle passes, I hope they in many ways stay because it really is a fun way to get new cosmetics and new things that don't usually change the game, and that's great. When it just stays cosmetics, it's fantastic. It's also why I stayed away from Fallout 76 because I could read the writing on the wall. They were saying, we're not going to give out anything that's going to cost money. Liars. When I say that, like, that's going to change the game for money, right? And it did. They did. And so they started adding things that would benefit people and make it go faster for them, like a mobile game. And this whole concept of we're going to come out with games and they're going to be live service and we're going to update it all the time and keep it going. Hear me out on this. It's a great concept if you have a company behind the game that's willing to support the game and keep going with it and keep building on it. Battlefront 2 could have been even more, and it's a great game now where it is, but it could have been so much more. Where was Ahsoka? Where was Asajj Ventress? Where was fill in the blank, right? Why couldn't we get Commander Cody or Rex, right? There was options. There was cool things. And unfortunately, like with Halo Infinite, they can't support their own game. They don't know how to do it. And it's the most frustrating thing to watch. Because we have a game that has, at the core, great gameplay. But unfortunately, they can't even get out Forge within a year of launching the game. They can't do it. They've been promising it for a long time. They keep putting out roadmaps, and then it gets shoved further back. Problem with roadmaps is you're saying this is our expectation and plan, and you're giving expectation to the person on the other end. What do you do with that? I don't know. So I think the biggest thing, unfortunately, for me is I haven't touched Halo Infinite. And I don't know that I'll come back for Season 3. Because it's not good. It's not in a good spot. The gameplay is fun, but it takes them too long to fix things. And I talk about it again, like Battlefront 2, there was a moment where they had to take out Emperor Palpatine for like a month. He was unplayable because there was a bug with him. We were freaking out back then that was too long. We had no idea what 343 would show us. The things that they would break and not fix for month plus, like simple things. That is something wrong with your code? Is something wrong with your programming? Is something wrong with how many people you have working? Somebody made a joke on the internet that I'm pretty sure 343 is really just two guys and their dog in a basement somewhere. And I hate to say it, but I think they're right. I think they are actually legit right that 343 is just because they've lost people. That's the other thing. As a side note, they've been losing people all the time. So unfortunately, we talked a little bit back a few weeks ago about maybe the best thing for your favorite show is for it to get canceled so it just ends, so that way at least ends on a high note instead of just keeps going downhill. Maybe the best thing for Halo right now is for it to fail and get taken over by a different company underneath Microsoft. A company that actually knows what they're doing. Because right now, 343 does not. I've not been very impressed with them throughout the years of what they did to Halo. And it's funny, as some of you even on the internet may feel that 343 Halo stuff is even better than some of the regular Halo before. And I get that, because if you were introduced there, I get it. It's going to be the more interesting. But the unfortunate thing is, for those of us that lived through the Bungie era, what was different was they cared and they were willing to work hard to put it together and make it amazing. And we continued every game getting more excited because it just kept getting more interesting. And even in Halo Reach, where some people don't really think of it as good as Halo 3, I get that. The bloom effect was weird, but the gameplay was awesome. The concepts in the game were hilariously fun. We had a great time. We played that one hardcore. And Halo 4, we played it pretty hardcore too, but we started realizing something's missing. Even though there's more guns, even though there's more stuff, something's off. Doesn't feel quite Halo. And now I think the best thing for Halo to have happen, I think it needs to get canceled. I really do. And that way we can get back to what we need to with Halo. The core gameplay here in Halo Infinite is good, but they cannot update fast enough. You're going to have a live service game. You need to be able and ready to move with updates and excitement. So otherwise, people are going to disappear super fast. And unfortunately, live service games are designed that we don't have to design another game because you're going to be here for 10 years. Even 8 years or 7. And for Halo Infinite, this time in November when it launched, come this year, I bet it's going to be hard to find a game even on Xbox. I really do. So, if you've played Halo Infinite, what are your thoughts? Is it in as rough as a spot as I see it? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.